What's up, guys? Today is the Mets versus the New Jersey Jumpluffs, and also known as Christian, of course, on Mind Warrior 49. So all of this names will obviously be in the description below, as well with my team builder / team analysis on his team, in case you have missed it or not watched it yet in general. But yeah, this week I need to get back from the devastating loss they had last week versus Pierre. Again, I still feel I'm no longer that salty about it, but I do want to get my revenge on him later in the season. So I hope he will make playoffs, but I hope, of course, it's not gonna be the cost of my playoff spot, But for me to reach playoff spot, I need to win games again because I am not looking right now. I'm not in the first two positions in position 1 or 2, which are the only two positions that reach playoff spot, of course. So I need to step up a game, I need to win versus my opponents, and I need to get back in the first or second position. Preferably first, of course, but if it's going to be second, then it's because I lost versus Pierre last week. So that will be all on me. But yeah, the team I'm bringing, very standard shit. Actually, it's not all very standard shit. Most of it is kind of, but check it out in the team below. I'm just going to start right up. On his team, I noticed one thing right away. No Registeel, and basically with no Registeel it means that he doesn't have a Dragon Resist, so Hexerus could potentially put in a lot of work. I needed to scout for, of course, Scarfers on his team. I needed to scout for maybe something very bulky or coverage wise, I don't know, but Hexerus could pull through. I knew that from the start, so Hexerus was my win condition I wanted to play with. Also, Monster did very well, of course, with still Menifee, because Menifee has a fantastic matchup versus his team. As only Victini with Bandit Ball Strike could potentially do a lot of damage if I lose speed tie. Offensive Zapdos, Adamant. Well, if it's Adamant Pincer, then he won't outspeed me. So, but yeah, Scarf Crew potentially could do the damage it needs to do. But yeah, in general, Menifee does have a good matchup versus his mons. So that's also something in the back of my mind that I knew I could use to the max potential. So anyway, let's just go into the match. I expect him to either lead with Victini or with Crocodile, because Crocodile is obviously the only thing on his team that learns Stealth Rocks, except for the Pinsir, which I do not expect him to bring a Pinsir with Stealth Rocks. So if he does, then credits to him, of course, because it's a cool set. But I expected the Crocodile to be the Stealth Rocker. So either Crocodile was going to be a lead or Victini, in my opinion. Because Victini, obviously, I need to scout for its set, and depending on his set that he's running, he can beat most of my matchups, lead matchups, and that I can potentially have. So that's why I thought Victini or Crocodile would be the leads, and in fact he does lead with Victini. So that's in my opinion a nice prediction on my end. Turns out he is a special Victini. So not something I completely predicted. Obviously my team is a little bit weaker on the special side, so I can definitely see why he would bring it. But luckily for me, Convergis still eats it up. It has 55%, unfortunately gets the burn, which kinda comes into play, not that much though. I'm able to knock off the Choice Scarf, so that's huge, and I think that I just still come out on top of this matchup, even though I got massive damage on me and the burn. I do knock off the Scarf that can potentially threaten the Hexerus, my win condition obviously, in the later on in the game. So knowing that by the damage he is fully special attack and investment, and I think that he is gonna be speed investment as well with a Scarf, I figured that he's not going to be having any physical attacks except for maybe U-turn. So that's why I switched into Aromatisse, and he does not predict me to just make the switch, because he goes for Psychic and then go for the U-turn. So yeah, he switched in Cresselia. At this point, obviously I fear a Calm Mind in Cresselia. So I go for the Wish on the U-turn play, and I go into Skarmory next, just to make the safe play, because Skarmory is of course the counter to Cresselia on my team. And yeah, he switches out. I just go for the Toxic, just Scarfroid is gonna go for. If it turns out to be a sub Calm mindset, then I can still whirlwind it out and not take too much damage in the process. He goes for the Volt Switch. I make the prediction to as well he's gonna go for Volt Switch and not go for something like Hidden Power Grass. That was the short-term plan behind this play. Of course, I just didn't want to give him any momentum by switching in something like Aromatisse, and yeah, that was basically the whole reason. The other part of the reason is some kind of long-term explanation, because if you did go for the Hidden Power Grass on the Rhyperior switch, on the predicted switch, My render berry would pop, of course, so he could potentially 2-hit KO me with that, the HP crash. But I would have switched out into the Aromatics on the next turn, where he wouldn't have gone for full switch, I don't think. If he did, then nice, but that would still be fine. But I would know that his Zapdos would carry the Hidden Power Glass over something like Hidden Power Ice, which means that Hexpress can even set up on something like Zapdos, which is fantastic because that's all I needed. And turns out he's not gonna reveal anything just yet because he's gonna switch out straight into Cresselia on my Stealth Rocks. His team is massively weak to Stealth Rocks, so that's why I wanted to have the Stealth Rocks up as quickly as possible, and that was the perfect timing. He predicts me to make a play expecting his Zapdos, which is nice because that's exactly what to go for. I think he's not gonna want to have his Cresselia Toxic, but he makes a nice play and stays in. Unfortunately for me, I switched him out into the worst thing possible, Kyurem. Kyurem is bad because Kyurem can be any sort of set and I need Scout for it. This is where the burn on the Cofagrigus kind of comes into play, because without the burn I would have been at 52%, and a Scarfed Kyurem at that point would have been could have killed me, but it was a very low chance of him killing me if it was like just Mother's or Timid Scarf. Timid Scarf had no chance, and Timid Scarf had a slim chance. But because he doesn't show an item, and because I was at 40% instead of the 52%, I don't know if he's Scarfed, I don't know if he's Specs, or if he's Extra Belt, for example. So yeah, unfortunately for me, I don't know that just yet. So I make the safe switch into Aromatics, because Aromatics is the check/counter to the Kyurem, of course. As he again switches in Cresselia on my wish, because I want to be as healthy as possible. So he makes a nice play, expecting my switch into Skirmery. I knew he was gonna potentially make this play, but I don't lose too much by it because I still have the upper hand, because I do have switches into Zapdos. And as you can see, I go into Aromatics right here, not really expecting him to go for a full switch, of course, because that was very unlikely. Defog would have been the best play, and he does go for a Defog. Here I expect him to go for a full switch, but he reveals the Roost, which is a fair play as well. All this does for me is I make him take more toxic damage, and with the toxic damage racking up, he needs to switch out. And knowing that he needs to switch out, I can set up my Stealth Rocks again, and he will not be able to defog them away unless he wants his Zapdos to die to the Rhyperior. So he makes the plan to Kyurem, knowing that I'm going to go for the Stealth Rocks instead of just the Rock attack, which I could have gone for, I guess. But well played on his end, and Kyurem scares my whole team out again. Here I switch into Manaphy. If he did go for the Draco Meteor, which was a potential move on his end that he could of course go for, I would have definitely been able to live it. I think, well, I say definitely, but a modest Specs Draco would have had like, I think it was 101% max damage. So the chances of me living the hit were very big. And obviously I expect him to go for the Ice Beam, that's why I switched in Manaphy. But yeah, it turns out he is Specs. And I go into Manaphy, take a crit, which kind of sucks. This means that I do need to go for the Rain Dance right here, because if he just spams 2 more Ice Beams, then I am in range of any attack. So I would have at that point been able to be 3-hit killed, maybe 2-hit killed depending on rolls. So I needed to get up the Rain Dance and get up the rest. So because I had sped, of course, so I would have been able to get at full. He switched to Cresselia. In my opinion, that's a very bad play, because if it's not Calm Mind, Sub Calm Mind Cresselia, he's not able to beat me, and even if he is, then I don't think he's able to beat me. So yeah, I just go for the rest and wake up and be at full health and at +1 on the attacking and defensive side, especially. And he switches in Zapdos because he knows that he needs to touch Manaphy as soon as possible. And I shoot a Wakam Berry, and with the Wakam Berry it does like, I don't know, 14%? Yeah, 40%. So absolutely nothing, basically. And I am at a +2, and I have a very good amount of health, obviously. He switches in Pinsir. I think his thought process right here was that I was physically defensive Manaphy or something in that kind of thing, because if he did call for damage with Kyurem, he would have known that I was max HP. So a bulky Manaphy, maybe physically defensive, maybe mixed defensive, I don't know, would have been a very reasonable set that I could run versus him. But it obviously turns out that I am max speed and max HP, and that means that I outspeed Pinsir before Mega Evolution. So Pinsir just gets knocked straight the fuck down, and it's a big threat gun. Now he switches into Zapdos. Bad play, I think, because Zapdos just dies. Even without the Rain Boost, I could easily kill that thing. He switches into Crook next. Feared the special, the Scarf Crook, but he turns out to be a Saltfish Crook, and he manages to lift the hit, which is kind of nice. But burn it, and he just does nothing with EQ. Don't think it mattered too much because I put it on like 20% more, and as you will see in the end of the game, it doesn't matter at all. And I could just easily rest up again. So yeah. Switches into Crest, gets a T-Wave off. I should have gone for Hydration in the first place because I knew that he was going to go for something like this. Luckily for me, he doesn't capitalize on it and switch into something like Kyurem or Victini and bank on the crit. So I am able to just rest up to full and have Manaphy very healthy on this Cresselia, which is obviously set up further to my Manaphy. I don't need to set up anymore because I just win at this point. So I take down Manaphy, I take down Cresselia with Manaphy. And next is Kyurem. He needs a bank on the crit, which I guess I should have set up on it in that case because yeah, I would have not been critted that way because I took it down before it crits me. Anyway, he goes into Victini. Victini wins a speed tie, but it doesn't get a crit either. So Manaphy is able to win at a nice 28%. So that's why the Crook attack didn't matter at all. So yeah, again Manaphy drops. So GG to the New Jersey Jumpluffs, of course. It was a very good battle. I enjoyed it. You did have a little bit of a lack of preparation for Manaphy, and I think Hexers would have still been able to run through the team after I scouted for the sets you were having. But yeah, it was a good game nevertheless. And this means that to all of you that have faded me, thank you, because I finally, after last week, I finally been able to prove myself again. So I think at this point I am third in the league table, which means I'm still out of reach of the playoffs, but of course it's just week 3 and I do have to face basically everyone but the number 1 at this point. It's Pierre with 2 wins and 0 losses. So yeah, basically I can get second very easily, and depending on if Pierre loses his games, I can easily get first as well. If not, if Pierre wins everything, then obviously that sucks for me. But it was my own mistake of being bad in week 2. So anyway, thank you all for watching, and obviously check out my opponent in the description below. There will be every single one of his links he has. And yeah, thank you for watching. We'll see you next week against Rufus, which is a newcomer in the GPC Season 3. So I do have to prove myself, of course, by being the veteran here. So be on the lookout for that. He's a great guy and a great battler as well. So he's definitely a threat that I have to consider, and I have to obviously beat if I do want to make playoffs, which is definitely my goal. So we'll catch you on the flip side, and see you for now. And have a nice weekend, obviously. Oh, nice week, because it's Sunday when you upload this. But see ya.